still can't wrap my head around what we're
seeing
from Victor Wembanyama. He was doing a little bit of everything last night. He was a human highlight reel, and I don't know if anything embodied that more than this play right here. This 360 layup through traffic. What?
What's wild to me is that you're setting pin down screens to free him up so that you can get loose, and then, like, what? These types of finishes, pirouette.
But what I love is that we're seeing his off-season work translate directly to his game. What do we know, right? He worked out with Hakeem the Dream on his post game over the summer. So how exactly does that transfer over to the game? Well, we got to see it last night.
The scariest sight in the entire NBA is the fact that Victor Wembanyama has embraced the post game. He learned from the best. That beautiful shimmy shake. You can see the side-by-side right here, the quick pivot, and kissing it off the glass. Wow.
But it's not just the moves in the post, right? He also worked with Jamal Crawford on improving his handles. He's considered one of the best ball handlers in the game, Crawford is. And then check out this dribble sequence from Victor.
Now, Malika, this is when things become unfair. When you're 7 foot, whatever, a million, and then you have a handle like this going between the legs, bringing the ball up in transition. How do you guard that? Even the guy who blueprinted this is shocked.
Yeah, the student becoming the master there, Crawford tweeting out about it. And then at the end of the day, though, this is just another day in the office. Wembanyama cuts inside, dunks it all over your head.
I love how he's playing downhill. Before last year, he'd sit around the three-point line trying to shoot shots instead. But then, of course, this is a guy that's going to be Defensive Player of the Year when he plays the requisite amount of games.
Does it on both ends, drives, hits a tough layup here. Wembanyama finished with 24 points, 7 of 8 shooting. The Spurs moved to 4-0 with a 121-103 win. But Sinead, the numbers, they are just as bananas as the highlights. So let's go in the bonus here, because Wemby blocked a shot for his 89th game in a row. That passes Patrick Ewing for the 4th longest streak since blocks became official in 73-74. He's now 6 games away with a block from passing Mark Eaton for 3rd all-time. And then on the defensive side, he made 87.5% of his shots last night in the win over Toronto. That is the best shooting percentage in a game in his career. He was also plus 35, the second best plus minus in a game in his career. And his spectacular play has led the Spurs to a 4-0 record that's tied for the best start in franchise history. Next up, they host the Heat on Thursday, seeking their first 5-0 start as a franchise. And somehow, that stat is what shocked Wemby.
With the 4-0, Vic, would it surprise you to hear that that matches the best start in franchise history? It matches the best a Spurs team has ever started.
Spurs never went 5-0?
Spurs never went 5-0.
No.
Wow, right.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Because Spurs have the highest win percentage in like the last 3 years or whatever, right? Wow. Well, let's beat that record.
It is kind of wild, right, when you think of all the greats that have walked through the San Antonio Spurs door here. But, Brian, we have until Thursday to wrap our heads around this as they chase that record. When we're talking about the single most telling mark of his evolution, you and I were chatting this morning, you said it's not something he is doing, Victor is doing, but rather something that he isn't doing. Can you explain?
Yeah, so last night he did something he's never done before. He didn't take a three-pointer. Not one. Didn't even try one. And Malika, I just want to remind you that last year he was averaging 9 attempts a game. So he's averaging under 3 a game this year. He's gotten rid of 6 three-pointers a game so far. These are all, early season numbers, but he was doing this in the preseason as well. He correspondingly, not surprisingly, is taking 6 more two-pointers a game than he did a year ago. And so what does that mean? He's averaging 7 more points a game, and he's shooting 60% from the field instead of the mid-40s. That right there is the transition from an all-star player to an MVP candidate. And that is with him focusing on taking higher percentage shots and using his advantage, and that is what the NBA should be worried about.
I mean, Sinead's a Gatorade Player of the Year. That was back in high school.
Yeah.
You're a #1 pick. You're the Wooden Award winner at Stanford. So I'm just going to say this for my girl. She's played against a lot of talent gaps when she was dominating the league. But have you ever seen a domination like this?
Honestly, what it reminds me of, Malika, is my favorite reality show growing up, Fear Factor. There is a tremendous fear factor that is rippling through the NBA based off of what Victor Wembanyama has decided to do. It's very rare that we see a generational talent that makes you think he's changing the game in real time. We got it with Magic Johnson, positionless basketball. We got it with Michael Jordan, the new prototype of the wing. We got it with Steph Curry and what he does with a three-point shot. Now we're seeing the alien, the fear factor, in full effect. He is someone that affects the game. He can knock down shots, but he affects it on both ends, and he's leaned into his strength. Literally, he shoots 45% at the rim so far this season. He deters people. Their opponents shoot 45% at the rim, which is tremendous, top 5 defensively. But then offensively, he shoots 81% in the restricted area. Look at these numbers. This is just 1 week. This is the thing that has literally everyone in fear because he's embraced the aspect that makes him unguardable, and it's very rare. I don't know if we'll ever see something like this again in the NBA.
I don't know what you can draw up, right? Like, I don't know what you can draw up to try to slow him down.
Nothing.
Kobe Bryant called him, right, the game's greatest post defender. Is there anything that you can put on the whiteboard right now?
If you do, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the people that you're presenting it to. I tell you that much. It's nothing that you could do. Look, check this out, y'all. 15 to 20 years from now, the GOAT conversation is going to go like this. MJ, Braun, and Wemby. Those are the 3 names that are going to come up in the GOAT conversation. Because if this man stays healthy, right, he's going to be arguably the best defensive player we've ever seen. I believe he's going to win 5 or 6 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Can someone tell me a flaw that he has in his game already right now at the age of 21? I'll wait. You can't tell me because he has none. Offensively, he has the complete package. The Jamal Crawford handles. We saw that in the highlight. The pull-up threes. We're watching him knock that down on a consistent basis. He's excellent moving without the basketball for his cutting, being a live threat at the basket. On top of that, he's starting to go and capitalize in the low post area, mid post area. You could use him as a screener. It's nothing that he can't do. This man has arrived, and he has the mentality of a killer. He wants to win. That's what separates him, and that's why I say in 15, 20 years, it's going to be MJ, Braun, and Wemby for us the GOAT conversation.
Malika, I remember when LeBron was after his 4th season, which was in 2006-07. 6-7. That my son would be excited about that. In that time frame, they went to the finals that year, and he struggled. He shot under 40% in the finals, and LeBron realized, despite getting his team to the finals, how much he had to improve. He dedicated himself to making over his game, taking it to the next level. He won 4 of the next 6 MVP awards. Might have been even able to win more if you ask him that one. Victor may have come to the realization about how he had to make over his game in year 3 because he's making the changes to his game that make him unstoppable. LeBron found the mid-range and long-range shot. Once he had that, he couldn't be stopped. He became a machine going to the finals. Now I think we're seeing Victor starting to put those things together as well.
Oh, with the hot start, the Spurs, they have an early hold at the top of the standings. And you heard Victor, they're going for that 5-0 start. But they are not alone. They share that top spot with the defending champions because the Thunder, Shanae, they have been rolling. They took on the Dallas Mavericks last night. We're going to pick this one up in the 3rd quarter with the Thunder leading by 5. Chet, watch him here, catches the pass, and then goes all the way to the paint, throws it down.
Yeah, I love how Chet Holmgren is starting the season playing with authority. He is their separator. He's their X factor. Without J-Dub, you have to have someone step up, and he's been that guy.
Over Cooper, so did he capture the flag?
Oh, he did.
SGA, fancy footwork. That tough fadeaway, he gets that one to go. And then later on in the 3rd, SGA, watch him here, gets the steal, takes it coast to coast. You know he's going all the way, Shanae.
Yeah, I mean, how do you stop him? He's so crafty. He finds ways to finish off the glass left and right. No one can keep him in front.
Finish your breakfast, though. Chet, pump fake, drives, passes it to Hartenstein for the slam. Sharing is caring.
Honestly, I was like a little disappointed in the defense of the Mavs. They were doing a lot of watching late.
We're going to talk about that. Davis does catch it, banks it in, plus the foul. Mavs cut it to 1 possession here, but then SGA passes it to Hartenstein, finishes the layup. The Thunder, they go on to win this one 101-94 and remain undefeated. Now, the scary thing is the OKC offense, it's not even clicking yet. The Thunder made just 20% of their threes. It's actually tied for their 2nd worst three-point shooting game since the start of 2024-2025. But they made up for it. They made it 60% of their twos. On the flip side, Cooper Flagg, his struggles, they really continued. The number 1 pick, he also injured his shoulder in the opening possession of this game. You can see it right here. Yeah, he finished with only 2 points, 1 of 9 shooting in this game, 2 rebounds, no assists in 31 minutes. And Jason Kidd made the decision to have him spend the majority of crunch time watching from the bench. The Mavs fell to 0-3 on the season, and they're now the sole winless team in the Western Conference. So let's say howdy to our partner, Tim McMahon, who was out in Dallas last night. Tim, how concerned are the Mavericks about Cooper's shoulder? Let's start there.
Howdy, Malika. He's going to get some scans on that today just to be sure, but they don't think it's a concern moving forward. He says he expects to get treatment, continue icing it, and to be available tomorrow night against Indiana. And, like you said, he played 31 minutes after injuring that shoulder. He thinks it's just banged up. That was not the reason that he was on the bench for the vast majority of crunch time. It just was not Cooper Flagg's night. He looked like an 18-year-old who was really struggling in the first back-to-back of his NBA career against the defending champions.
Right, of course. It's against the defending champs, so we should mention that, of course, as well. But Dallas has been trying out Cooper Flagg at point guard. The returns, though, Tim, while there were some flashes in the preseason, they really haven't been great. The Mavs are dead last in offense. So how committed are they to this experiment, knowing that in the West, every single night really matters?
Well, Jason Kidd talks a lot about what he thinks will be long-term benefits to Cooper Flagg going right into the deep end of the pool as a point guard to begin his career. And by the way, it's a position he has never played. He didn't play point guard at Duke or in high school. So he's not only learning on the fly at 18-year-olds in the NBA, but it's an unfamiliar position. And the production, he had 22 points, 4 assists against the Raptors, but like you said, they ranked dead last in offense. I think what's interesting will be to continue to monitor the role of D'Angelo Russell, who was really a fringe rotation player in those first couple games. DNP-CD in the second half of a loss to the Wizards. The Wizards. Now, last couple games, D'Lo has been the sixth man. He's not shooting it well, but it is a completely different offense with D'Angelo Russell bringing the ball up the floor. Whether they want to or not, I think they're going to have to continue to rely on D'Angelo Russell to play a significant role. He's the only experienced ball handler on the roster as long as Kyrie Irving continues to be recovering from that knee injury.
Yeah, and when you look at history in the NBA, it tells you that young guards, when you task a young player with doing most of your ball handling, oftentimes it is a really, really difficult adjustment, and teams like to go with that experience. Tim McMahon, adios, amigo. All right, let's pick this back up with some highlights from around the league. Our NBA Big Three. We're going to start, Sinead, with Donovan Mitchell. He gets our nod for the handles of the night here. Let's see what he had in store. Donovan Mitchell, back-to-back possessions.
Oh, he's so good at that snatch over.
What do we call that? Signature cradle.
The spider?
I like that. And
he's got them spider legs. Or arms.
Are
they arms or it's a season for it.
He finished with 35 points in the Cavs.
Oh, no surprise here. Dime of the night.
Yeah, the dime of the night goes to Nikola Jokic. It was, of course, a no-look behind-the-back bounce pass, as one does.
And the crazy thing is the help side is coming. He just beats them countlessly.
Sinead, 3 games, 3 triple-doubles for the Joker here. You got to be joking. Last up, the shot of the night. It goes to Anthony Black. A second left in the third quarter. Black from 3 quarters hits it.
And this is why I like the rule change, right? You got to have that. You
just take the shot.
Take the shot every time.
This is why they changed the rules, but you know what?
Hey, you made NBA Today because of this rule change. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, also ahead, not necessarily rule changes. It's not the combo you'd expect to shake up the East, but it's working. Why this unlikely pair is suddenly must-watch TV, and it means I get to hear they haven't been short on in this first week in the NBA, getting buckets. There have already been 16 40-point games by 13 different players. That's more than double the most 40-point games in the first week of a season in NBA history.
They've been in the gym this offseason.
They've been balling, so we thought we'd go coast to coast with the Ballers. And naturally, that's where you start in Utah, because the Jazz, they got an overtime win thanks to 51 points from Lauri Markkanen, his career high, and the first Jazz player to break 50 in a regular season game in over 27 years since Malone. Brian, are teams around the league starting to pay attention here?
Well, Markkanen signed that huge contract extension before last season and then had his worst year in 3 years. His name was nowhere near the trade market. Now he's taking 11 three-pointers a game and making 42% of them. If that keeps up, that's going to change as far as the trade market goes.
Yeah, there's going to be questions swirling, like what's going on in Utah. The Nuggets, they beat the Wolves last night. It was the 7th time that Jamal Murray had at least 40, and Nikola Jokic had a triple-double in the same game. Only Hall of Famers Wilt and Tom Gola have done it more times. Shanae, are we underrating them?
Somehow we are, but you know what's still wild to me? To understand the fact that Jamal Murray has yet to be an NBA All-Star. Make it make sense. Now, over the past 5 or so years, they have been the best duo, big and guard in the NBA, but others have entered the chat. Chet and Shea and Cat and Brunson. So, but they still got it, sis.
How about Austin Reeves? He's him. He followed up his 51-point night with 41 in a loss to the Blazers. That 92 points on back-to-back evenings, the most by a Laker over 2 days since Kobe in 2007. Perks, did you know Austin had this in him?
You damn right I did. That's why I picked him to make his first All-Star appearance this season, because I knew it. And look, Malika, he's not just scoring because he's averaging 35 points. He's dishing the rock, averaging 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Austin, I am Reeves, him, knows he's him.
They're going to need it without Luka for the next week. No Joel Embiid for Philly, but Tyrese Maxey picked the Magic apart. 43 points, 8 assists. And how about rookie VJ Edgecombe? Added 26 in the win. The Sixers are now 3-0 despite no Paul George, no Jared McCain, no Embiid. Shanae, what makes this backcourt so effective?
Come hang with me. Let me talk nerdy to you. Here's what you need to know today. The 2 most explosive guards in the NBA to start the season are in Philly, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Now, they have combined for 186 points this year. That's the most by a starting backcourt in the first 3 games of a season since 1970. Let's start with the All-Star, Tyrese Maxey. So far, he's shooting 52% from 3. He's knocked down 15. His 3-point shooting has been elite. That's the most in Sixers history starting the season. But also, you guys know he's so good at finishing, although he's undersized. What's the matchup here? He's only 6'2", going up against Paolo Banchero, that's 6'10". But anytime you roll things back, we all know what LeBron James taught us, you're going to attack. Right here, he keeps the defender on his hip. There's someone that's great, Wendell Carter, for rim protection. It does not matter. He's able to kiss it off the top. Look at where he finishes his shot, this layup, in order to get it over the defender. He's very savvy with that. Tyrese Maxey has scored 111 points. More than the greatest in Philly, Allen Iverson, arguably, and right behind Wilt Chamberlain. And y'all know what they say about being in the stat line with Wilt. Now let's break down, though, his running mate, VJ Edgecombe, the rookie. I knew you liked that one, Perk. He's known for his explosiveness. Paolo Banchero, he's chilling. This is where he does his damage. He's so great in transition, but hey, this is going to make the scouting report. Those types of defensive competitive plays, what does it lead to? An easy layup on the other side. That's VJ doing it. Look at the reach. Look at the contest. Again, now you know. Now you know. Now you're familiar with this game. And then again, his basketball IQ is just so advanced as a rookie. Here, there's drop coverage, and he's going to read it until the last second. So if you engage with the post, you have the shot. If you engage with the guard, you're going to dump it over to the post. This is tricky because he's still in the air. No decision has been made, but he has excellent touch on this shot. This many people have scored more in NBA history. If you look at that, it's wild. So far, VJ has scored 75 points, 1 point more than Michael Jordan in his debut, and Philly is 3-0 because of this backcourt.
I feel like I should be like, ba-da-da-da. Well, why? Because tonight, the Bucks and the Knicks will play for the first time since the two were connected in trade talks for Giannis over the summer. Our Shams Charania reported earlier this month that Giannis expressed interest in playing for New York, but ultimately he returned to Milwaukee and is reportedly monitoring how the first quarter of the season goes and where this team stands in the East. So Giannis is averaging 36 and 16 so far. It's early goings, but that's the 3rd most points per game and the most boards. So, Brian, now that these two are facing off for the first time, of course there's going to be conversations about what this means and if there's more attention on this game. What are you hearing from folks around the league?
Of course there is. Now, I know that Giannis came back after being overseas, and then he had COVID, so he was late to training camp, and he gave the Bucks a love letter. And I know Doc Rivers had some things to say to push away the report from Shams, but nobody has denied that those talks took place. And the reason no one's denied it is because Shams was right. They did take place. And the thing about this is that the Bucks made those aggressive moves over the summer, cutting and eating the contract of Damian Lillard going out and immediately using that money to bring in Miles Turner. Giannis looked at those moves and still expressed an interest to be with the Knicks. Now, it wasn't a good time to ask for that. The Knicks didn't have their entire roster available to trade, but the Knicks certainly knew that interest was there from Giannis. And so, look, they got to play their season. Giannis has said he'll reevaluate things in 6 to 7 months. Whether he does that or not, we'll have to see. But the Knicks know that Giannis has interest. The league knows that Giannis, for the first time, maybe broke a little bit, at least behind the scenes, and that he's opened the door potentially to have trade talks. All of those things are known out there in the league. Whether or not anybody wants to say it publicly, whatever. But that puts extra onus on how the Bucks perform, especially over the first third of the season,
right,
and what the Knicks do with this roster. Because, look, the Knicks also believe in this team. They believe this team can get to the finals. But if it doesn't, that's something the Knicks have to re-examine as well.
I'm careful not to put too much on this single game, but you know that there is going to be extra eyes and questions are going to be asked afterwards about the connection that these two franchises have. So actually on the floor, Perk, what are you going to be watching most closely here?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing that is known is that Giannis is still the most dominant player in the NBA with Wemby on his heels, okay? Respect to Wemby, but Giannis is still that dude. But the style that they're playing, I love Giannis in this point forward position. Again, you look at the points and rebounds, obviously that speaks volumes, but it's the 7 assists. It's that spacing. It's that running that Doc Rivers talked about, getting a lot of three-point shots because you're coming into the game and you're saying, hey, we want to stop Giannis from getting in the paint. But Doc has the personnel out there. Although they haven't been knocking down threes consistently, you still have to respect them. And Giannis' growth is showing, trending from last year, what he was doing, that he's willing and able to be a high decision maker and make guys around them better, which is called greatness.
It's also called cracking the code of consistency. That's what Giannis Antetokounmpo has done. I love that you say he's dominant because when he plays, he really runs through your chest. He's shooting 68% from the floor. He does a lot of his damage around the rim. He knows he's unguardable there. But Perk, and actually, Wendy, you said they wrote a love letter. Was it a 4-page letter? I feel like Perk would only be the one to understand that. Secondly, 4-page letter. Okay, yeah. Secondly, congrats to Giannis. Eastern.
I knew that was coming.
I knew Perk knew it. Congrats to Giannis, first Eastern Conference Player of the Week. I was going to ask Perk if he knew the West. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama. It's interesting because we're talking and we're leading the season with the dominance of Victor, but Giannis is the blueprint.
Right.
With how he's approached the game and embracing the paint.
You almost take it for granted.
Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. But if this is a love segment, clearly, like, there's going to be a lot of googly eyes out there. This is an arena that he loves to play in. This is an arena that he dominates in.
And he's at home. He's going, so he's kind of has the crowd on his side. But if you're one of the players who is wondering whether or not your name was involved in there, is it hard not to kind of look sideways in a game like this, even though it's just a regular season game, 1 of 82?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you think about it, this is a place where he realizes what the conversations were, and he won't want to make a statement no matter where the situation is. And so I expect Giannis to do what he does best. He's a walking 36 and 16 right now, which is wild, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 40 and 20 because he understands that there are more eyes and there's going to be a lot of reading into this moment.
So we've made a whole, as Shanae said, love segment about this apparently, but Brian, is this 1 of 82? On the scale of something, nothing, everything, where does this game fall in the way that fans should be watching it?
Well, I think it's something, the other night the Bucks were in Cleveland and Giannis had another brilliant game. He had a 40-point, I think he just short of a triple-double. And after that game, he praised his team and said, because they were down like 18 points or so and they came back in the second half and they made it close. And Giannis was praising his team. But ultimately, he was praising his team for a close loss against one of the Eastern Conference's contenders. The Bucks can't do that. They can't just impress Giannis with playing hard and losing to a contender. If the Bucks are going to hold on to Giannis, they're going to have to start beating the contenders. And look, that judgment does not come in October. But you have this road trip where you go to Cleveland and you go to New York. If you have close losses where you're taking moral victories, that sends a message. And that is what Giannis doesn't want to be a part. He doesn't want to be on a moral victory team.
Go ahead, Perk.
Well, you gotta crawl before you walk, right? And you gotta drink Similac before you start to graduate to baby food. Damn it, this is one of those moments This is one of those moments where he could come out and they could get an early signature win, right? The East and a lot of people, the Knicks in the East are a lot of people's favorite. So you go out there tonight, his teammates play well, you walk in Madison Square Garden, you handle your business, and then this is a step to continuing to making Giannis happy and trusting that what he has around him for right now until everyone is back, that they have enough to actually compete. I believe this team is going to be right there, a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. Yes, you have the Cavs and the Knicks, but right now I can't put anybody else ahead of Milwaukee. I think they're the third best team.
A lot of parents relate to what Perk just said.
I think that this is what people come to NBA Today for, parenting advice. One thing I know for sure is when Giannis plays against New York, there's a good chance he's going to offer a pretty epic highlight reel. So let's go back a decade ago. 2015, Giannis blocks Tim Hardaway Jr., then goes coast to coast and finishes with the one-handed slam. Look at young Giannis go.
Crazy.
That was 10 whole years ago. And then back in 2017, we got one more look at this. Put on a little more muscle at this point. The Bucks were trailing
Don't
the
make
Knicks.
the same face.
Trailing the Knicks by 1. Giannis hits the game winner at the buzzer in the Garden.
Oh, man. And look at how everyone's happy. Oh,
Mellow. Got to stay mellow.
So I have one that I'm excited for.
Do we need to apologize to Tim Hardaway Jr.
We
for
do,
it?
because this is the one we all think of.
And he's also on here twice. This is 2018. Giannis literally leaps
Leapfrog.
over him. This poster, I don't know if kids still have posters, but this is worthy.
Recognize, like, he did that?
The Warriors, they hosted the Grizzlies last night in the Bay. Draymond Green passes to Steph, knocks down the 3. Next Warriors possession here, Shanae Curry finds Green, who throws it up to Kuminga for the dunk.
This is a dream. Look, Draymond Green being able to be facilitated on the inside, but of course, when you're seeing these types of plays.
Jimmy Butler gets the ball, goes coast to coast for the layup, plus the foul. So Butler had 25 and 5 in this game. Kuminga 25 and 10. Early in the third quarter here, Green passes to Butler, kicks it out to Pajemski. This ball movement.
It's kind of looking like strength in numbers.
It is a little
It's kind of
bit.
looking like a team you should believe in.
23 for Pajemski. And then Kuminga kicks it out to Moses Moody. Moody. 20 points off the bench for Moses Moody. Now this is where things get
love you,
mental wild. So Draymond Green, I shouldn't be laughing. Sandy Aldama gets the steal, goes down, clearly in pain. So Green, Jaren Jackson Jr. exchange words. Green and the Grizzlies head coach exchange words. Technical fouls were assessed. This is why I'm giggling a little bit today. Is because Draymond Green, the joy after Aldama finishes the first, and the skipping after he misses the second. This man is so out of pocket.
The pettiest man in the NBA I think I've seen. Ever seen.
Warriors go on to win 131-118. But you mentioned the strength in numbers. Skip to my Lou, because Butler, Kuminga, Moody, Pajemski all scored at least 20 points, making this just the second time in the Kerr era the Warriors have had 4 20-point scorers, and none of them were Steph Curry. So it's time now to step into a little NBA Today time machine.
Stephen Curry, the new phenom. James Harden there, the number 3 pick in the first round. You've got the opportunity to bring him along slowly. Great pass across. Stephen Curry in the middle of a lot of it.
He has a feel for the game, and he really has jump-started this club.
Can you believe it's been 17 seasons since these future Hall of Famers, since their careers began?
Wow.
Steph Curry, James Harden, they will face off tonight, the Clippers and the Warriors. So that brings us to the debut of a new segment. We thought we would ask, we've made some statements on this show over the course of this season. We wanted to make sure that we were doubling down on those. First up, heading into tonight's Clippers-Warriors game, the Clippers, they're currently plus 1,700 to win the title this season. The Warriors plus 2,000. Perk, are you sure that the Clippers have a better chance than the Warriors to win a title?
Are we sure what now?
Are you sure?
The who?
The Warriors.
That the Warriors have a legit chance?
I said, are we sure the Clippers have a better
legit
chance
chance
than the Warriors? The numbers say they do.
Hell no. The numbers, hell no. I ain't never agreeing with the numbers in Vegas. That's them. I'm talking about what I'm feeling. Look, I told you the Warriors are my sleeper to win it all, and I mean that. Do you see the passion? Do you see how Steph is playing, the joy? Jimmy being a leader out there along with Draymond, but on top of that, Malika, Shanae, I'm depending on y'all. The role players are being what right now? Stars
In their roles.
There we go. So you get 25 points and
that.
10 rebounds out of Jonathan Kuminga last night. Moses Moody come back and give you a 20-piece all flats off the bench. Pajemski is out there playing, being a star in his road to the T. He's developed a lot offensively. Hell no, the Clippers shouldn't be ahead of the Warriors at all.
And the fact that the Warriors are getting back to what they did best, that made them a great team, development. It's not the fact that, Jonathan Kuminga had 25 points. It was that he was 9 for 14 and had 10 rebounds. He's doing what he needs to do to make this team successful.
All right, let's see if Brian understands the game a little better, Perk. Next up, how about the Bulls? They defeated the Hawks last night to improve to 3-0 on the season. So Chicago has done this with a balanced attack, 6 players averaging over 13 a game. The Bulls have dropped plus 110 in 3 straight, 110 or more in 3 straight games to begin the season for the second time in franchise history. The last time was 85-86. That's when they had Michael Jordan. So, Brian, are we sure that the Bulls can't finish in the top 6 in the East?
Did you just compare him to the Jordan Bulls?
No,
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
Nope. That's our researcher Schwartz
I'm sorry,
over there dropping some numbers.
So you said 6 guys over 13. There's like 9 players over 9 points a game. So that's terrific, team-wide scoring. Nikola Vucevic, who's in a contract year, is shooting the absolute lights out. Josh Giddey's averaging 19 and 9. They're getting up and down production in the lineup. The one thing about the Bulls that you can count on is that they always compete. This is a team that probably should have tanked at times in the past, but they always compete. I don't think that I'm going to change my opinion that they're still out of the play-in mix, but I think they definitely will be a team that's around 500 who will compete for the play-in, and that's where they've been the last 4 years.
Yeah, they've been sort of that consistent play-in territory. All right, I got one more for you. How about Cooper Flagg? He struggled last night against the Thunder, only 2 points. He was on the bench during the Mavericks' comeback in the fourth quarter. You can see here he injured his shoulder on the first possession. His scoring average is 13 a game, dropping him to 6th overall in the rookie scoring, which has led VJ Edgecombe. He's leading the pack, 25 a game. So, Shanae, are we sure that Cooper Flagg is a consensus pick for Rookie of the Year? It is only October.
It is a very, very small sample size. Yeah. And I know he's now currently dealing with that shoulder. So I'm not going to say that it's wide open. VJ has been phenomenal, but I do think the gap is closer than we think. And so VJ, what he's been able to do, like you said, 24.5 points already to come out of the gate. Cooper, I do think there are impact stats like rebounding, like assists that will help him, because if you average around 16 and 9, that looks strong, but the way VJ has started, if it's sustainable, this will be a real race.
Not to mention the Eastern Conference is pretty interesting up at the top.
You're saying they can...
If the Sixers make things interesting, winning
right.
is always interesting where that fits in the Rookie of the Year mix. All right, finally, how about the Utah Jazz? They improved to 2-1 with an outstanding 51-point game by Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen became the first player in Jazz history with 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 threes in a game. He also tied the team record for free throws without missing. He went 17 of 17 from the line. So are we sure that he has no better way to celebrate than hanging with us? We are sure. What better way than a 50-point performance than hanging out with us? Lauri Markkanen, we really appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and congratulations on a huge night.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm curious, was that the best moment so far in your career? It looked like you were having a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I've had some fun moments, but it's up there doing it in front of your home crowd, and you literally couldn't see what your teammate is saying to you right next to you. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the environment, right? Your home fans. It's always one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. And then afterwards, you're gifted the game ball. I'm always curious, what do you do with that? Do you have a special shelf that you put it on? Does it become a door stopper at some point?
I have it in a little glass case at my house. I got a couple of balls at this point, so it's a good little closet that I have for all my quote-unquote trophies. So
yeah,
I think I think my son's going to end up playing with it at some point anyway. So.
That's the best, though, to be able to say, oh, yeah, you know what, your dad, just so you know, I was a big deal. This is the ball that I scored 51 points with. Was there a best text message or a message that you got after this performance?
There was a lot of them. Probably one from my mom. Just that's my favorite every time. So
I love that.
Cool.
What did she say?
No, just proud of me and that it looks like I'm having fun out there. So I think that's the biggest thing. And knowing that she woke up in the middle of the night to watch the game in Finland. So that's big time.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. That she woke up in the middle of the night in Finland to make sure that she was able to watch you is incredibly special. You said you have a lot of them. How many unread at this point?
No, I always check my messages at zero.
I need to learn from you because I'm like on 107 or something like that. Larry, the Utah Jazz, you had had the longest streak without a 50-point game of any franchise. Now you have broken that. Do you happen to have a guess at who you've handed it off to, who you've set that next franchise that now has the longest streak?
I don't know. Hopefully we're going to have another one soon. So.
Well, there you go. It's actually the Miami Heat, and it was LeBron who had 61 the last time. So what do you think? You got a 60-point game in you?
We'll see. If it happens, it happens.
Lowry.
We'll try to get some wins and hopefully knock down some shots, and maybe it happens.
It's been a whole lot of fun to watch. Thank you so much, Lowry. Congratulations on the win and on a really fun night.